Hello and welcome to another video on thoughts that may be preventing you from doing anti-racism work. So today's thought is, I don't want to get it wrong, or I'm afraid of getting it wrong, or what if I fuck up? It's a pretty common thought many folks have, particularly white folks, that can prevent us from doing real anti-racism work. So I'd like to challenge us to go a little deeper in that thought and what are the underlying thoughts that we're having. A lot of them are related to fear of failure and perfectionism. And I would suggest that perhaps again, we have our sense of self tied up into those thoughts. So if I fail or if I fuck up, I'm a bad person, or I'm only worthy if I get things perfect, or I'm only a good person if I get things perfect, or I need to be perfect in order to be loved. So these are not new concepts. These are things I talk about fairly often in coaching, and they apply to anti-racism work. And the thoughts that may be preventing you from doing it. The stakes are just rather high. So let's take a second to walk through the coaching framework that I use and many other coaches use. It's not like I made it up. It's common and takes its foundations from cognitive behavioral therapy. So what are the feelings that evokes for you? Like, I don't want to fuck it up. What if I get it wrong? So maybe fear, maybe anxiety, maybe feelings of inadequacy even. Who knows? Be having a ton of feelings. So pay attention to those. And then what do when you have those feelings? Or when you're afraid to have those feelings, or, avoidant of those feelings. So one thing is that we avoid. We don't take the chance. We don't take the risk. We don't get uncomfortable, which we'll talk about probably tomorrow, because we're afraid of feeling those feelings. So instead, we do nothing, which ultimately causes us to feel guilt, which causes us to potentially get defensive or shut down or police other people's anti-racism work, or virtue signal or do things because we want to alleviate our guilt, like I talked about yesterday. And then the outcome is that we do nothing, we don't do anti-racism work, and the system continues, and we are complicit in that system. And that is why people say white violence equals silence. No, white silence equals violence. So when we can accept that we might get it wrong, and again, we don't attach that to our sense of worth. Just like accepting that we are racist, it allows us to show up in a way much more willing to do the work. So what I am not saying is that it's okay to be reckless and just say, well, fuck it, I might get it wrong, who cares? I'm talking about if you're starting to do the work and you're becoming more aware of the ways that racism works and how you are racist, and you're engaging with people in conversations about racism, that if you are doing it thoughtfully, you are probably still going to fuck up. You are going to fuck up. I'm going to fuck up. I might be doing this video and I might be fucking up a lot of stuff in it. Have I thought about whether I'm centering white voices? Yes. Or taking up too much space? Yes. I've thought about that, and there might be some criticisms of that. I've also thought about the fact that I have a little following. Thank you. And that I want to use the platform to talk about this stuff. And because it's not any different conceptually than lots of the other stuff I talk about. So this can easily be applied to anti-racism work. But that we have to be willing, when we fuck up, to acknowledge that we fucked up. Not make it about us, and again, our worth and whether we're a shitty person, but that we've potentially done harm to someone, regardless of our intent. Not center it around our own feelings. You can process your feelings elsewhere, privately, perhaps with another white person. I offer 30-minute free consults in relation to coaching. You can use that if you would like to process your feelings. Please do not ask BIPOC people to process your feelings with you around whether you fucked up or not, and how you feel about that, and how you're making that about you being a good person or not. Offering an apology, a real apology, and changing action. There's a lot of resources by BIPOC people that you can that have been generously donated, or you can pay for, which have been generously created, to do some of that learning and that action work. So what I want to talk about is the actual thought that you're having that's preventing you from doing that work. So if we can just accept that we might fuck up and be willing to do that, be willing to take risks, mindfully, be willing to take risks, and know that when that happens, we will do our best to rectify the situation, and we will do our best to not make it about us. And if you must, you will do that privately and you will work through that on your own. Then it gets easier to do the work. So a thought might be, yeah, I'm probably going to fuck up, but this is important work to do, and I trust that I will do my best to make it better, and I will keep learning. And that's the best I can do. But that is better than doing nothing. So that's a thought that's available to you instead of, I don't want to fuck up. So instead I'm going to say nothing. Yeah, I will end that there. If folks want to read about this, I've written a blog about processing your thoughts around doing anti-racism work. It's on my website, olivevantop.com/blog. You can read it there. Again, these are not new thoughts. They're not my thoughts. I'm just utilizing my platform and the work that I already do to talk about this. So that's it for today. Just know that you're going to fuck up and you're going to do your best to apologize and make better of the situation by real action. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.